This is the proudest moment of my career.
Nia Carter, you've been served.
Simone, you planned this? I wanted you to feel invisible for once.
Mom, why would you do this?
You chose the wrong night to destroy me.
I was halfway through my acceptance speech at a Manhattan hotel when a process server walked onto the stage and handed me divorce papers. My wife smiled from the front table as the entire ballroom watched me realize she had planned the humiliation. For several seconds, I stood beneath the crystal chandeliers, with the papers trembling in one hand and the American Institute of Architects award in the other. A $1,000 dinner plate crashed somewhere near the back of the ballroom. The process server quietly said, "You've been served," then stepped away. My business partner stared at the floor. Reporters raised their phones. At the front table, my 16-year-old son Isaiah looked from me to Simone as if someone had split his life open in public. I forced air into my lungs. "My apologies," I said into the microphone. "It appears tonight's design includes an unexpected exit." A few people laughed nervously. I placed the papers beneath the podium, finished my speech in under 30 seconds, and walked off stage without looking at my wife. My name is Nia Carter. I was 43 years old, a black architect from Brooklyn, and that award was supposed to mark the greatest night of my career. I had spent 14 years building Carter Row Studio from a rented room above a laundromat into one of New York's most respected minority-owned architecture firms. I designed schools, museums, and mixed-use towers. I could look at a damaged building and understand which walls were carrying too much weight. I had never learned to do that with my own home. Simone met me near the service hallway behind the ballroom. She wore a silver gown I had helped her choose. "You smiled," I said. Her expression hardened. "Because for once, you couldn't control the room. You served me on stage. You're never home, Nia. I had to find a place where you'd actually show up." That wasn't a conversation. That was an execution. Her attorney appeared behind her. Blake Harmon had gone to college with Simone. He was polished, handsome, and always looked as though he had stepped out of a private club advertisement. I had met him twice before. Both times, he had asked unusually specific questions about my firm's valuation. "Nia," he said calmly, "all future communication should go through counsel." I looked at Simone. "You brought Isaiah to watch this?" Her confidence flickered. "He was supposed to leave before the award," she said, "but he didn't." I walked past them and found my cousin Malcolm waiting beside the elevators. Malcolm was a city building inspector in Queens, 6'4", and protective enough to consider every legal dispute a personal insult. "Tell me you want me to accidentally spill something on that man," he said. "I want Elena." Elena Ruiz was my firm's general counsel and the most detail-oriented person I had ever met. By 9 the next morning, she had read all 68 pages of Simone's filing. She sat across from me in our conference room while rain streaked the windows. "She's asking for half the marital value of the firm," Elena said. "An interest in the brownstone, temporary support, legal fees, and repayment of a $600,000 personal loan." I stared at her. "What loan?" She slid a document toward me. It was a personal guarantee bearing my signature. According to the paperwork, I had guaranteed a $600,000 business loan 18 months earlier. The borrower was an LLC called Haven Table Hospitality. The signature looked like mine. Almost. "The N curves too sharply," I said. Elena nodded. "I noticed that too." I had signed thousands of drawings, contracts, and permits. My signature was practically muscle memory. Whoever copied it had studied me, but they had reproduced the appearance without understanding the motion. "I never signed this." "The lender says you did." "Then the lender is wrong," Elena leaned back. "Or someone committed fraud." That was the first revelation. The second arrived 3 days later. Elena hired a forensic document examiner and demanded the lender's complete file, including identification records, email correspondence, and the original guarantee. The lender delayed, then claimed the original had been misplaced during a document scanning transfer. That alone made Elena suspicious. Meanwhile, Malcolm searched public business records. He called me late one night while I was sitting alone in the brownstone kitchen. "Haven Table owns a restaurant in Tribeca," he said. "Guess who owns 35%? My stomach tightened. "Blake." "Through another LLC. The restaurant was called Aurelia. Simone had taken me there for our anniversary the year before. Blake had happened to be dining at the bar. I remembered him raising his glass when we entered. I remembered Simone saying the restaurant had such a thoughtful investor group. The loan had funded construction overruns, imported fixtures, and a private dining room. Payments had stopped 4 months earlier. The lender was now pursuing every guarantor, including me. When I confronted Simone through a scheduled meeting at Blake's office, she did not deny knowing about the restaurant. I invested money, she said. Blake said it would create independent income for me, with a forged guarantee. I didn't forge anything. You gave him access to my financial records. Her eyes shifted. During our marriage, Simone managed most household documents because I traveled constantly. She had copies of my tax returns, identification, bank statements, and business disclosures. You told me it was for refinancing the brownstone, I said. I thought the restaurant loan was temporary. Blake said your company would make the bank comfortable. Did he tell you I signed? He said the documents had been handled. Blake interrupted. This meeting is becoming accusatory. I turned toward him. That's because somebody copied my signature onto a $600,000 guarantee for a restaurant you partly own. His face did not change. You should be careful making allegations without evidence, he said. Elena placed a folder on the table. We're working on that. As we left, Simone followed me into the hallway. You think I did all this because I wanted your money, she whispered. You had me served in front of 400 people. I wanted you to feel what I felt. Her voice cracked. Every promotion, every award, every emergency meeting, you chose work. Isaiah stopped asking whether you'd come to his games because he already knew the answer. I stopped telling you when I was lonely because you treated loneliness like a scheduling issue. I wanted to defend myself. Instead, I remembered the anniversary dinner at Aurelia. I had taken 2 calls before the appetizers arrived and left before dessert because a client's contractor had discovered a structural problem. I had told Simone we would celebrate properly later. We never did. You were right to be angry, I said. You were not right to destroy me. She looked away. I didn't think it would go this far. The third revelation showed me exactly how far Blake had intended it to go. 2 weeks after the award ceremony, a video appeared in Simone's divorce filing. It showed me outside our brownstone, shouting while Malcolm held me back. The clip made me look furious and unstable. What it did not show was Blake standing just outside the frame, telling me the bank planned to freeze my firm's operating account. Elena obtained the complete security footage from a neighbor's doorbell camera. In it, Blake could be heard coaching Simone before I arrived. Mention Isaiah, he told her. Keep repeating that she frightens you. If she raises her voice, we can use it. There were other recordings. An employee at Aurelia had preserved emails after Blake blamed her for missing funds. The emails showed Blake advising Simone to create documented incidents, provoke emotional reactions, and establish a narrative that I was financially controlling and psychologically volatile. But the emails also revealed something I had not expected. Simone was not Blake's lover. She was his target. After confiding in him about our marriage, she had become emotionally dependent on his advice. He praised her intelligence, validated every hurt, and convinced her that the restaurant would give her a new identity. He promised the investment would be protected during the divorce. In private emails to his business partner, however, Blake called Simone the cleanest exit. He planned to resign from the restaurant LLC, move his assets, and leave her responsible for the unpaid debt. My forged guarantee was meant to give the lender another deep pocket while keeping Simone cooperative. She had helped him gather my documents, but he had planned to abandon her too. When Elena showed Simone the emails during mediation, all the color left her face. He said I was his friend, she whispered. Blake reached for the papers. Elena pulled them back. He used your pain, I said, and you used mine. Simone began to cry, but for once I did not rush to rescue her from the consequences. Our legal team moved quickly. The forensic examiner concluded that my signature had been mechanically reproduced from a scanned document. The lender's electronic records showed the guarantee had been uploaded from an IP address connected to Blake's office. There was no valid notarization, no video verification, and no original document. The court ruled that the guarantee was fraudulent and barred the lender from pursuing me or my firm. Blake withdrew from representing Simone after Elena notified his partners that we were filing a grievance with the New York Attorney Disciplinary Authorities. Months later, he was formally investigated for conflicts of interest, fraud-related conduct, and using a client to benefit a business in which he had a hidden financial stake. The restaurant closed before winter. Simone did not receive half my company. Under New York's equitable distribution rules, the court considered the firm's marital growth, her contributions at home during its early years, and the financial damage caused by her conduct. She received a fair share of our marital assets, but nothing close to the fortune Blake had promised her. I kept control of Carter Row Studio. We sold the brownstone. There was no dramatic reconciliation. Some betrayals cannot be redesigned into what they were before. But I finally accepted that proving Simone wrong did not make me entirely right. I had provided for my family while slowly disappearing from it. I started therapy. I stopped carrying my phone into every room. I attended Isaiah's basketball games, even when he barely looked at me from the court. For months, he answered my questions with one-word responses. Then, one Saturday, he asked if I wanted to help him build a model for his urban planning class. We stayed at the dining table until midnight, cutting cardboard sidewalks and arguing about where to put the park. That small invitation meant more to me than any award. A year later, my firm won a city contract to design affordable housing on a neglected block in Bedford-Stuyvesant. I insisted that residents be included in every stage of the process. We created family-sized apartments, shared courtyards, childcare space, and a rooftop garden. At the groundbreaking, I stood beside Isaiah while cameras flashed. Someone asked me whether the project was my comeback. I looked at the families waiting behind the barricade, at my son standing close enough for our shoulders to touch, and at the empty space where a building would soon rise. No, I said. A comeback is when you return to who you were. I smiled. This is me becoming someone better.